happening, family and friends? What's going on? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. Coming up on today's show, my friends, look, why El Salvador is refusing to return a Maryland man wrongly deported. Kellyanne Conway tries to put Stephen A. Smith in the same sentence as Trump and Obama. What? Oh, also, the Raisin Cajun James Carville's got smoke for the DNC Vice Chair. Plus, New York Attorney General Letitia James is under the microscope for mortgage fraud allegations tied to a Norfolk property. Oh, and later on, if we have some time, apparently more women are choosing to fly solo instead of settling down. We're going to unpack it on today's show. Again, my friends, welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your host, Arrington Gavin. Thank you so much for taking 1 hour, just 1 hour of your time to chop it up with your friend, your homie here, bringing you some great stories, discussion topics, as well as headlines that are going across our TV screens as well as on the digital space. So I appreciate you could be tuning in and doing so many other things with your precious time, but the fact that you are using your time to tune into the program, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, those who are tuning into us through YouTube, as well as on Rumble. For those that are watching us through the GOATverse TV network, shout out. Also, those who are listening us through the podcast platforms, a variety of podcast platforms where you can listen to the Arrington Gavin Show. Shout out to our friends and fam over there in the Metro Atlanta area. Listen to us right now on WDJY 99.1 FM. And then lastly, I want to shout out our New Orleans family out there that's listening to us right now through WBOK 1230 AM. That's right, my friends. Thank you for your continued support. And I hope you all are having a wonderful evening right now. Look, we come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We come to you weeknights, baby, giving you all the great insight as well. Do me a favor before we get started. Look, can you follow us on our social media platforms? You can follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as Substack, all at the Arrington Gavin Show. I truly appreciate that. If you can do me the great honor of following us. I follow back, by the way. I follow back. Well, if you're nice to me, I follow you back. But if you're not, I'm like, I think about it. But no, y'all, I hope you all are having a great evening. I hope you all are taking care of yourselves, physically, mentally, man, because there's so much stuff happening right now in our world. It's so many things you can easily be stressed over, right? Finances, health. I go back to the economy because that's kind of like the main bread and butter issue that's happening right now. Market is this and that, and it's a lot, especially for those who are not fans of this new administration. I know it can be extremely stressful, but just hang in there. You stay prayed up. Think of the positive stuff. Remember, you do have primaries that are occurring. So when it comes to making an issue that's happening within your state, within your local government, look, you have primaries where you can easily, I say it all the time, the importance of voting, and that message needs to continue to be shared to the masses. But yeah, y'all tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. Again, I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. We got a lot of great stuff to tap into with this hour. But before we do that, let's go ahead and get started with our fun fact of the day. Tradition we love to do here on the show. Let me go ahead. Actually, I think I have a graphic for y'all I would like to pull up. So on today's fun fact, let's see. Okay, so on today's fun fact, did you know that Florida, yeah, that state, becomes the first state to require schools and state agencies to use Gulf of America? Yes, Lord have mercy. They are the first state, and I mean, no shocker, because as you know, that is I call that is Trump state. I mean, come on. The main thing you hear about in Florida is how red it is. Okay, a lot of strong conservatives are moving there. A lot of major networks are moving. Conservative right-wing networks are moving to the Florida state. It's they're gonna follow whatever this new administration tells them to, and so yes, that has been set in stone. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signs 2 bills into law to rename the Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America on state agencies and public school classrooms. Yes, this means they will have to change signs and school materials. I think that is a lot, by the way. I think that is insane. Why? Because for years, it's been the Gulf of Mexico. Why all of a sudden make the change? That's the big question. Why now? Why make the change? It's so funny because these same folks that voted for Trump are saying, well, it's about time they make it. Well, I never heard you say this in the past years when he wasn't in office. Why is it a big deal now? Or why wasn't it a big deal then like it is now? Come on, y'all. Stop being hypocrites. Well, that's our fun fact, y'all. Again, gotta get the juices flowing. We love to share it here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Let's see here. Also, before we move forward, let's go ahead and shout out some of our supporters of the Arrington Gavin Show, like our friends over at the Dapper Luke Collection. That's right, the Dapper Luke Collection. Where shout out to my good friend, homie. That's right. I said the homie, the Dapper Luke. It is a Black-owned, veteran-owned custom clothier that's catered to men and women, and it is one of the top-tier clothing brands in the country. That's right, I said it. It's one of the top-tier clothing brands in the country, introducing a new standard in luxury men's wear. That's right, where tradition meets bold innovations, and every stitch tells a story of distinction. Redefine custom suit excellence, one masterpiece at a time. Crafted for the connoisseur, worn by the refined. The Dapper Collection offers men's custom suits, exclusively tailored, unmistakably you. By appointment only. Step into an intimate private showroom experience and exclusive journey where the precision, craftsmanship, and personal expression reign supreme. That's right. The Dapper Luke Collection, redefining suit excellence. And I just got to shout out the Dapper Luke Collection for being a proud supporter of the Arrington Gavin Show. He created a custom suit for my wedding. I've worked with him in the past with so many. Where I get my custom suits at is the Dapper Luke Collection. So all those comments they're saying, oh man, I love that suit. I love Dapper Luke Collection, baby. Dapper Luke Collection. So I want to thank you for being a proud supporter of the Arrington Gavin Show. All right, my friends, look, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we have a lot more show for you here on the Arrington Gavin Show.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
With me?
Yeah, that's that new Goldverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
Goldverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
What is happening, y'all? Welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. So look, El Salvador president refuses to return wrongfully deported Maryland man. That's right. Let me go ahead and share this soundbite for you, and then we'll get it going on the other end. There we go. Is it ready? Oh, there we go.
White House appears to be bucking the Supreme Court order to bring back that Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. A federal judge scolded the Trump administration for doing nothing to facilitate his release, but the White House doesn't appear to be apologetic. Attorney General Pam Bondi acknowledges the Trump administration failed to take one extra step of paperwork, but stressed that he is not coming back to our country. That quote is getting a lot of attention today. She also repeatedly alleged that he has ties to the MS-13 gang, though courts have conflicting evidence about that claim. Bondi also has a different view of the Supreme Court's order to facilitate his return. She argues the ruling only means they need to provide a plane, nothing more. So what happens next? The judge gave Trump's lawyers 2 weeks to comply, but if the president flatly ignores the judicial branch, Democrats warn we could be in a constitutional crisis. To read more, check out my newsletter, The Hill's 1230 Report. You can sign up at thehill.com.
All right, y'all. So let me go ahead and
appears-
share a little bit more. Let me share a little bit more about this story right here. So the gentleman's name is Kilmar Garcia, 29-year-old Salvadorian national resident in Maryland, was wrongfully deported to El Salvador on March 15th of this year. Now, due to an administrative error by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE for short, despite a 2019 immigration judge's ruling that protected him from removal to El Salvador, citing a high risk of persecution by gangs, ICE proceeded with his deportation, alleging gang affiliation without some substantive evidence. Now, here's the big issue. So you're having folks on the left saying, do you see how insane this new administration is? They wrongfully deported a guy, and guess what? Now he's stuck there. Now, and they admitted of the error, but now they're going back saying, oh, well, he was if you actually look back in this, and he really is good for him because he was a criminal. He wasn't part of this. He wasn't part of that. There's no clear evidence. There's no clear evidence. Let me go ahead and share this soundbite from the press secretary. What is her name? Levitt. I'm forgetting her first name, but the White House press secretary, I think is it Karen Levitt? She is sharing the information that they're just now getting, and so you guys, my audience, y'all smart people, y'all can read in between the lines. What is the response? Let me play this for you first. Let me play the soundbite for you, but I want y'all to listen in and see, is it some truth to this, or are they just kind of all of a sudden avoiding to look bad because they've been looking quite bad since the whole the start. And again, it's literally hasn't even been a year yet, and they're already making all these mistakes, right? Signalgate, and now this. So let me go ahead and share this soundbite for you.
Well, first of all, the error that you are referring to was a clerical error. It was an administrative error. The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang. That is fact number one. Fact number two, we also have credible intelligence proving that this individual was involved in human trafficking. And fact number three, this individual was a member, actually a leader of the brutal MS-13 gang, which this president has designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Fact number four is that foreign terrorists do not have legal protections in the United States of America anymore. Well, first of all, the error that you are referring to.
All right, so for one, she a ride or die because she got some sass on her. She really do. So let me continue on reading you a little more about this gentleman who was wrongfully deported. So upon arrival in El Salvador, Garcia was in prison in the terrorism confinement center, a high security facility known for detaining individuals suspect of gang involvement. Now, his wife has publicly refuted claims of his gang ties, emphasizing that previous allegations stem from a minor marital dispute and a 2019 arrest where he was merely seeking work. All right, so that was one soundbite. So you've heard from the Trump administration of this whole debacle. Now let me go ahead, if I can, let me go ahead and share another soundbite from the right. Well, actually, this one right here is from the wife of the wrongfully deported Mr. Garcia. So let me go ahead and share that one for you. Because again, the right is continue to say, well, he should be. He did this, he did that, he was an abuser. He was, again, when their backs against the wall, they start trying to find all sorts of claims. Now, look, I do have some issues with the left, and I don't think I'm just bashing the right here, but this is a Republican administration that we're under. So when it comes to who got to receive the heat more, you know who it is. I'm going to play this for you. This is the wife of the Mr. Garcia, Jennifer Vasquez Sura.
Today is 34 days of after his disappearance, and I stand before you filled with spirit that refuses to bring down. I will not stop fighting until I see my husband alive. Kilmar, if you can hear me, stay strong. God hasn't forgotten about you. Our children are asking.
So that's the wife. Obviously, she's distraught. She's very emotional because at the time when he was taken by ICE, the man had just left the grocery store. All right, he was just like any other day. Now, here's the interesting thing. Since during his citizen, because he is a citizen. He is a citizen. Let's remember this. He is a citizen. He's married with children, and he is a citizen. He has no criminal convictions in the United States. Now, in 2019, he was arrested, as I mentioned, in Maryland while seeking a day labor work, but no charges were filed against him. Now, during subsequent immigration proceedings, authorities alleged he was affiliated with the MS-13 gang. But here's the thing: there's no court proof. There's no proof in a court of law that he is a part or was. So again, it's he say, she say stuff. Citing of confidential's informant's claim and his attire: a Chicago Bulls cap, a hoodie, as supposed indicators. However, these allegations were unsubstantial and no former criminal charges were ever brought against him. Once again, people, the administration effed up and they are not taking they're not accountable of their mistakes. They're not. What they're trying to do now is find an excuse to say, well, that's what he belongs, and he was really a bad guy, and he was a part of this. It's so annoying. If you watch mainstream media, you're on either avenue you want to choose from. Everybody's saying he say, she say, this and that and the other. And the annoying part of it is that you just don't know. You really just don't know. Now, one of my frustrations, and I'll read a little more. I'll continue to read a little more with this. We need honest discussions. Releasing evidence of domestic abuse, releasing evidence of domestic abuse when the judge demands evidence of gang activity means, guess what? You don't have evidence of gang activity. That you literally just told on yourself. Now, I will say this. I don't want to hear liberals or the left complaining about the deportation process from under this administration, when, as we've mentioned before, under the Obama administration, he was like the deporter in chief. He had the most illegals that he deported. Now, the difference between the two is he was quiet about it. He never boasted. He never made that like his key thing he wanted to showcase. Like, hey, that those the illegal immigrants that he was deporting, that was on the low. That was on the low. But when you read facts, when you actually read the plans and what was occurring during that time, yes, he did. But see, it was never in front of cameras like this. Like you got freaking the former North Dakota governor Kristi Noem going up there for photo ops. You got Trump. He was holding conferences by the wall. I mean, it's all a bunch of just mess. All right, it's all a bunch of mess. Now, as I continue, the president recently had sat down with the president Donald Trump recently sat down with the El Salvador president, where the El Salvador president made it clear. He's like, I don't have that kind of basically he said, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not going to be able to do this and do that. So let me go ahead and play you that soundbite where the two had sat in the Oval Office. And of course, in Trump fashion, he had, he wanted all the press to show up for this. So let me go ahead and play you this soundbite.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm suppose you're not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
So you can release him inside El Salvador.
Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal,
yeah. I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah,
they're sick. These are sick people.
Well, so you already see how the way he's acting. You could tell him and Trump are buddy, right? Why would I release a terrorist? First of all, if you listen to what I read earlier, there is no proof that he was affiliated with the gang. There's no proof. There is no proof. There is proof that he has no criminal convictions in the United States. There is proof that he is a citizen, legal citizen of the United States. There is proof that he was wrongfully, that's a hard word to say sometimes, wrongfully deported to El Salvador. That's facts. So now it's like, okay, why isn't any effort being brought by El Salvador to release this man? Now, this is what if y'all are having harder hearing to listen to that soundbite, what the El Salvador president said, how can I return him to the United States? Like, if I smuggle him into the United States, sitting beside President Trump in the Oval Office when he was asked whether he'd return Kilmar Garcia. He said, of course I'm not going to do it. The question is preposterous. Asked whether he'd release in his own country, he said, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists. See what I mean? Do you see how misinformation? You see how it's so important that you elect the right leaders so you don't have irresponsible leadership like these two individuals, in my opinion. I mean, how crazy is that? You don't have any. Now he's sitting in a room with Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, as well as who else was in there? It was other folks of the Trump administration that was in that room. It's unfortunate. I will say this: there continues to be questions that are being asked on, like, okay, you guys are speaking cold cash about it's good that we deported him. after you said he was wrongfully deported. So what is it? Were you wrong or were you right? Was it a clinical error? If you admit of clinical error, then that means there was an issue that had occurred. And the sad part is, what makes you think this could be not this is just one that we know of? It could be more. Again, y'all. Yes, we want stronger borders, but you're getting carried away with this. There's poor strategy that is being played, that is being being shared here. There's extremely poor strategy, and you're getting caught up in so many moments of making these bonehead mistakes. Like, come on, y'all. Two elected officials from the Democratic Party, one from, I want to say, Maryland. Let's see. Senator Chris Van Hollen, he requested to meet or speak with a wrongfully deported Maryland man. The senator said, accusing the Trump administration and others of lying about Garcia's gang ties. Van Hollen said Vice President of El Salvador told him the government had no information connecting. None. Zero. Let me also share this video of Democratic representative out of let's see here. Let me share this soundbite with you of Representative Ritchie, who spoke with Wolf Blitzer recently on CNN. Again, still trying to find a way to bring back a U.S. citizen back home. Why? Because he doesn't belong in El Salvador, people. Like that's the example. That's what we're trying to explain here, y'all. Now you have folks that are anxious, that are American citizens saying, "Oh my gosh, well, see, if he's sending wrong people, like what about us?" Now you see why people, why that Trump. I go back to Trump deranged syndrome. Why it's so big here, because these little mistakes like that is like, oh gosh, it gets people worked up. Let me go and share this soundbite with you.
I know you are introducing a bill that would require the U.S. to secure the return of mistakenly deported individuals. Why is this necessary, and will you have any Republican support?
Well, I'm skeptical that we will have Republican support because the Republican Party is fully captive to Donald Trump. But of all the abuses of Donald Trump's presidency, there's no greater threat to liberty than his complete contempt for due process. Without due process, what stops Donald Trump from wrongfully labeling any American as a non-citizen gang member and abducting them in the dead of night and rendering them to a foreign prison to be tortured? Donald Trump's actions set a dangerous precedent for our democracy. And so I'm introducing legislation known as the Rescue Act, which would seek to secure the release of those who have been wrongfully deported. If there's a foreign leader like the president of El Salvador who refuses to comply with an order from a federal court to release someone who's been wrongfully deported, there should be geopolitical consequences, and those consequences should be swift and severe. It should include the suspension of relations with the United States and the termination of foreign assistance.
He is absolutely right. That was Representative Richie Torres out of New York, Congressman out of New York, and he was right. If the Supreme Court voted 9-1 to facilitate to bring this U.S. citizen back to the states, and El Salvador, they're refusing. Well, the president of El Salvador is refusing. And now the United States is like, well, turns out that he really was, a bad guy, and he belongs over there. And after that, once again, we have elected officials who do it all to make themselves look good, and they do not pursue to do what's right. And that's my issue right now when it comes to politicians. Not all, but some politicians that you give so much power to, especially under this new administration. That's why the fact that we have a sitting president like the one we have now it will continue to blow your mind. But it also, to me, shows, I guess, how naive we can be when it comes to what are you really voting for. Stop, like, because here's the thing: you voted for economy, which last time I checked is not doing so well. You voted for immigration, which, hey, look, I said the border is getting stronger, but you can't have hiccups like this, man. You can't have hiccups like this. And now so that makes 2 Signal Gate, and now this. Come on now. I don't understand. I really, please help me understand. Can y'all do that for me? Help me understand. Because my thing is, how do we hold foreign leaders accountable when they mess with our people? And not even just foreign leaders, but people here in the United States. People here in the United States. I really just don't understand. Let's go ahead. We're going to move it on. We're going to take a quick commercial break, my friends. When we come back, we have a lot more show for you. So please stay with us. Don't go anywhere. You are tuned in to the Arrington Gavin Show. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your guy, Arrington Gavin. Look, next up on the block, on the chopping block, Kellyanne Conway compares Stephen A. Smith to Obama and Trump. All right, let me read a little more about this for you. So, former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway compares sports commentator Stephen A. Smith to former President Obama and former President Trump. And current President Trump, explaining they were all political outsiders. All right. I wouldn't go that far. I'm reading this reported by thehill.com. Conway joined Fox News Jesse Waters primetime recently, weighing in on the future of the Democratic Party and how Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has entered the spotlight amid a nationwide speaking tour with Senator Bernie Sanders. Now, she said AOC, not AOK. Okay, that's funny. Bernie burned by his party, and I think the two of them together reminds people at the party, whether it's hard for newer people, they're just not fresh and new anymore. I find their act to be very boring. She who is again a staunch Trump ally. She says Stephen A. Smith is intriguing to me because Obama was an outsider. Donald Trump certainly was a political outsider. Smith has not closed the door on potential run in the 2028 presidential election. Okay, let me pause right there. Here's how the game is played. You have pundits that are obviously on the opposing end of Stephen A. Smith. Well, I won't say, how can I say this? People who are on the side of keeping it the way it is, keeping it the way they would like, whichever party they're affiliated with, they want to keep it in their direction. So they're gonna spew stuff into the masses to kind of get you off your rocker, to distract you, right? And so Stephen A. Smith, I'm a huge fan of his work, but the whole thought process of him running for president is a big ass distraction, in my opinion. It's dumb. Look, he is intelligent. Don't get me wrong. He is a hell of a debater. That is very true. But this whole notion of, oh, well, his political commentating career is growing. Maybe he can run for president. So did y'all say that? I don't know. Should Chris Cuomo run for president? Should Don Lemon run for president? Should Sean Hannity run for president? My question is, should all political commentators or commentators in general take a run and run for president? No, just because they're good at what they do doesn't mean they're qualified to run for office. And you probably say, Arrington, well, what do you know? You don't know. All I'm saying is it's more than just being a great debater to run for office. What Kellyanne Conway is doing is growing a distraction so that, because here's the thing, the Democrats are already very poorly right now when it comes to strategy. They are extremely poorly. That's why they're in this predicament they are right now. So you have the naive ones that are saying, well, maybe they're right. Maybe Stephen A., he has the fan base. He has over 1 million subscribers. He has a voice. He has this. Maybe he could be. I mean, Stephen A. is being a distraction, but I continue to speak about it because he's like this. Well, the money I'm making now, that way I'll have to end if I run for office. So of course I have no reason. I have no ambition to run for office. I don't, but I'm not going to close the door on it. That's how he does. I'm not going to close the door on it. He says all this cold, he says all this mess, and then he says, I ain't going to close the door on it. Because here's the thing, Stephen A. is a registered independent. You see him a lot on Fox News, CNN. He's everywhere, right? He has his own show, Stephen A. Smith Show, very popular. He goes after both sides, right? Similar to myself. But he is more left-leaning, so he's seeing like, who does the Democrats have, right? Who are their options now? As much as people want to criticize AOC and Bernie Sanders' tour, guess what? It is a strategy that is benefiting. Why? Because what they're doing is continuing to stay engaged with, for one, younger people, the crowd of voters who are just fed up. Not even all Democratic and left-leaning crowd. They're talking to an audience that is just fed up. Working class folks, blue collar folks, voters who have voted for both sides that just like, I'm over this. I mean, Donald Trump did it when he was out of office. He continued doing his rallies. The strategy worked. He stayed in the public eye. He stayed relevant. He never spoke about strategy. All he did was keep talking bad about the administration. That's all he did. That's all he still does. And he's in office. All he says is, the previous administration did this. We're a whole lot better than the previous administration. See, the Biden administration. That is their talking points. Now, let me continue this. As I mentioned, Stephen A. Smith has become a frequent and sharp critic of the Democratic Party, which has seen a dip in popularity, no shocker, over its wide 2024 losses, ramping up talk about a possible bid. Now, Trump, who was a businessman and TV personality before announcing his run for office in 2025, has been examined as a political outsider. Yes, he's a political outsider because, he never served an elected position in office, right? So to say that Obama was an outsider is laughable. Obama just wasn't upset because he was a state senator. And for a state senator to make it so far to where he did, to become most likely one of the most well-respected presidents in most decorated and most popular ones of our time, that right there, Kellyanne, is not an outsider. That's just saying, wow, he changed the game. Trump is an outsider. Trump never held an elected office position. Now, did he build relationships with politicians? Of course. He was a billionaire. You're telling me a billionaire hasn't had any relationships with people in higher office, presidencies, governors, senators? Come on now. So to compare him to Trump as an outsider, yes, but I I totally disagree with the statement saying Obama was an outsider. He was just an unknown name, like Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg is not an outsider. He was always serving, whether it was in the military, whether it was in local office. You're still serving the country. Trump ain't never served the country. Trump refused to serve the country. Okay, because he what did he say? He had gout or something, or had something wrong with his toe. Lord have mercy. Let me see here. So again, y'all, the moral of this is I want to ask you all, the listeners and viewers out here, do you agree? Stephen A. really that level, or is this just Kellyanne reaching for a viral soundbite? Now, I can give you my response, but I kind of already shared that in my whole spiel here. But let me go ahead and move it on to our next story. This is one that really caught my attention. So the Raising Cajun, I call him, well, he's known for being the Raising Cajun, James Carville, who is a legendary Democratic strategist, is pretty ticked off with the new DNC Vice Chair David Hogg. And let me go ahead and, if I could, let me go ahead and share this video of David Hogg. He was interviewed recently on TMZ, and he was just sharing with the guys, the new strategy they're trying to do this year. You got primaries coming up. How can you prepare for the next election? Because again, the Democrats are in a bit of a bind because, for one, you got your ass beat in this last election cycle. Two, you have issues happening within your own party as far as, it's a division between the progressives and the moderates, progressives and the established Democrats, right? Let me go ahead and play the soundbite. This is a vice chair of the DNC, David Hogg, speaking with TMZ Live.
So, David, is the plan to get rid of senior members in Congress because of their politics, their performance, or their age?
So, look, I think that a lot of these members can be older. That's certainly one element that we look at. But look, age is not the only factor here. What we look at more than anything is the effectiveness. Certainly, there are younger people that are not very effective, and there's older people that are. So we're not trying to just take a big axe to this and say, well, if you're above a certain age, you can't be there by any means. We want to find the least effective members of Congress that are not doing a great job right now and find truly generational leaders to help elect them there. And sometimes that is going to mean challenging Democratic incumbents, because right now our party's approval is awful. It's at 26% with our own base. If you look at that and you don't think that we need dramatic change, I don't know what to tell you, because we're in a moment of crisis here. We're losing voters of every demographic except the elderly and the well-educated. That is a crisis for the party, and we need to show how we are fighting back against Donald Trump, and not just getting people to vote for us because we're not Republicans, but because we're here to fight for the American people against the special interests that have destroyed the American dream, and how we are working to actively revive it. But it doesn't mean that we're
so right there. Right there, he shared with them, hey, look, we are not trying to get rid of the old now, because there can be young people that are just unreliable and unqualified as well. But we're just trying to look for some new faces. But I will say this, excuse me. I would say this. I do think that you need to try and make room for more younger voices out there, because I'm sorry, you can't continue to rely on the Nancy Pelosi's. You can't continue to rely on the James Clyburn. What's my girl out in California? Reclaiming My Time. Maxine Waters. You can't. There's folks literally that are in their 80s. You hear me? In their 80s that are still serving. When is enough enough? Look, I have the utmost respect for my elected congressman Bobby Scott. He's been in office since 91. or 93, excuse me. You have to make room for newer faces. So here's what James Carville had to say. This is an article reported by The Independent. James Carville railed against Democratic National Committee official David Hogg for funding primary challenges against incumbent Democrats, suggesting that he might sue Hogg over the effort, while calling the Parkland shooting survivor a contemptible little twerp. That's what he called him. That's the Raging Cajun. That's James Carville said. This is the guy that voiced the phrase "It's the economy, stupid." He's known for that. His comments come after he called for progressives to distance themselves from the Democratic Party. Why? So that's one thing. I have a lot of respect for James Carville as far as his strategy is concerned, but I'm curious to why progressives should distance themselves from the Democratic Party. Now, I get it. Progressives can somewhat be a bit too, wait a minute, that's unrelatable to the predominant, right? To the majority. But if you see a strategy that is working, because let's be honest, majority of the audience that comes to these rallies with Sanders and AOC are probably progressives in that crowd. Progressives are a part of working class folks. So I'm trying to understand, like, why should they distance themselves? He's calling for a split due to what the veteran Democratic strategist called pronoun politics. Hogg, a 25-year-old gun control activist who was elected the DNC's vice chair, has sparked an intra-party uproar over his announcement that his political group, Leaders We Deserves, would be spending $20 million to challenge asleep at the wheel Democrats in deep blue states. Asleep at the wheel? That's interesting. We as the DNC need to be seen as a body that can be trusted. That's not putting its thumb on the nails, he said. We have to be so strategic and careful with our resources right now. So why are we in the circular firing squad against Democrats? Amid of the criticism from the Democrats, many of whom are frustrated by Hogg's dual role as a party official and a progressive activist, Carville called for the DNC to take legal action against its vice chair, and even say he could take Hogg to court himself. Now, here's my frustration. In order to win, you have to move forward and think of new things, think of new strategies. See, one of a fellow journalist and talker, one of my idols, Dr. Rashard Ritchie, look him up. He's sharp as nails. The reason he says he's a progressive is why he believes in progress. In order to do progress, you have to change it up. You can't go with the same old, James. All right. Now, look, here's what I'm thinking. This same Democratic Party that you're defending, saying they should sue Hogg over this, they were the same ones that didn't listen to you. You were the same guy that said they should have a small primary rather than just hopping right on the Kamala Harris bandwagon. Guess what? They didn't. You're the first person that said, look, this is the things you need to talk about. Guess what? They did not listen to what you had to say, and they did the opposite. And now look, they lost. All I'm saying, James, is take a chance. This guy, yeah, he's 25 years old. He's young, but I feel like this is the typical old school versus new school thing. This is grandpa saying he don't know everything. He don't know none of this stuff. What does he know? He don't know nothing. He only been an activist for this, that. And all. Look, listen. One thing you have to realize is if you look at the Republican Party, they are embraced with a lot of youth. You have your Charlie Kirks in the world, right? Who created Turning Point USA, which inherits loads of young conservatives. You have the Trump administration. You have MAGA as a brand that, guess what? A lot of young people enjoy. Now, I will say not people of color, but they have a huge population of young voters that are leaning conservative. But one thing I respect about Hogg is the fact that, hey, look, I'm elected. I'm coming with the ideas. Let's try it out, because people are tired. People are tired. Now, the hard part is what Hogg needs to. Now, I will say that I agree with Carville, James Carville. Progressives are always not okay for independence. They're not always okay with independence. Their strategy is normally not in agreements with independence. Well, I don't know. In my stance, in my opinion, I think that progressives and independents kind of see eye to eye with things, because they're so against the established the pro establishment, right? They're against the massive corporate funding, this and that. And so I see this as maybe this is the route that they need to go. Again, you need to just go swinging. You really, you don't have a choice at this point. You do not have a choice at this point. But I will say this. I will continue to follow up with this story. Question I want to leave you all this before I head to a commercial break is, for one, is James Carville right? Two, is the DNC disconnected from the grassroots or just facing a communications crisis? I'll say that. I say that one more time. Is James Carville, legendary Democratic strategist, right? Or is the DNC disconnected from the grassroots or facing a communications crisis? Continue to tune into the program, man. I'm going to talk more about this. Let's hit one more commercial break. We come back. We have a lot more, or really not a lot more, but we're going to try and fit in one more headline before we close the show. You are tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to.
And we still in traffic.
I don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, this that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
Welcome back to the show. Well, look, I wanted to discuss New York Attorney General Letitia James' case in being accused of fraud, but look, accused of mortgage fraud, but I'm running out of time, so I will share this quick story right here. So I don't know if y'all heard, but due to the Trump tariffs, as you know, they're going back and forth to, I think it's over like 200% that's been mentioned in the conversation, 245% tariffs. I think that's coming from, that was China's counter to the United States. And so with that being said, they're saying that it could hit one of the most popular, I guess, was it shopping sites, Shein and Temu is saying they are warning U.S. shoppers that prices are about to rise, and they are pointing to new tariff policies under the Trump administration as the reason. In nearly identical messages sent to consumers in the past weeks, the two Chinese retailers confirmed that they will be making price adjustments beginning within the year. Well, actually happening very soon. Due to, and this is I'm reading a quote here, it says, due to the recent changes in the global trade rules and tariffs, our operating expenses have gone up. To keep offering the products you love without compromising on quality, we will be making price adjustments starting and then they gave us a, not a specific date, but they gave said, hey, look, happening soon. And so the announcement followed Trump executives' orders set to take effect will eliminate the Demon. I look. I need to go back to school. That is a difficult word to pronounce. Exceptions that currently allow packages under $800 to enter the U.S. without import duties. Shein is encouraging shoppers to act fast and shop while they can before prices are altered. Now, one thing I've never shopped on Shein or Temu, but I know they were always known to be extremely cheap pricing when it comes to their clothes, apparel, accessories, the whole 9 yards. So the fact that they're even warning your consumers to say, hey, look, we about to go up. We about to go up. This is the issue that I'm having, y'all. This is what I keep on saying. I don't know, man. Something has to give. Something has to give. The fact that you have GOP members literally saying, I just don't know what his strategy is at this point. What are we doing here? What's going on? He don't know. All he wants to do is gain power. He wants to just, I want everything here. I want it now. It's honestly, it's a battle between two big babies. And really, I know the one that's being the biggest baby, but I'm not going to say. I've said enough. But all I can say is that, y'all, we got to stay strong. We got primaries. I hope that he would realize that this is not going to work out, because now it's going to be a bidding war. What for you, for the majority of your administration, it's going to be a bidding war, and it's going to be your administration making mistakes, because that's all y'all been doing in my mind is careless mistakes. And now you're gambling on our taxpayer dollars. So awesome. That's just awesome. My friends, look, I see my time is running short, but as always, I appreciate you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. Be sure to tune in to the Arrington Gavin Show Monday through Fridays. All right, Monday through Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Rumble, as well as wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also listen to our show being aired Monday through Fridays on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Monday through Fridays at 8 p.m. Central Time. And also, if you want to listen to us in the Metro Atlanta area, you can listen to us on WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Fridays. Until next time, my friends, y'all take care. God bless. Y'all stay safe out there. And please, if you haven't, download the GOATverse TV app today. It's free, available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire. Because guess what? You can also watch the Arrington Gavin Show on that network as well. I'll see you next time. Follow us on our social media platforms at the Arrington Gavin Show. I'll talk to you later. Peace. I'm out.